Gundam.tk presents Master Grade Monkey D. Luffy. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, gudam.tk, gundamreviews.net, and Monkey D. Luffy. You've seen all the parts and all the plates after the unboxing. Now it's time to turn these into the actual character itself and see if this is going to work as an anime character. And when he's all finished, this is my first Master Grade Figurerise, so it's a very different experience from putting together a Gundam. But I have to say that he looks okay. He comes across as looking very cartoony, really skinny overall, but again, that's very suiting for Luffy. The legs look good. I'm really glad that I went with the details with the real touch markers, as easy as that is just to go over. Here's a better look at the lower body, and the ankles and the knee joints, they don't seem to stand out. The colors that are in the sandals certainly add a nice bonus. And the upper body, you're going to see a lot more of the joints around the shoulders and necks. Those gaps in the necks don't bother me as much as I thought they would. The vest looks good, especially with the gold buttons on there. The arms are going to be very, very skinny, but again, that's Luffy-like, and the hair is actually looking pretty good with all those details in there to go along with the eyes, which look just right for the cartoon. For posability, the first thing you're going to notice is that this jacket or vest is on very, very loose, which is a little bit, it would have been nice if it just had a clip or something to keep it in place, because it's not like it's going to go anywhere and be dynamic. For the legs, in the parts video, you may have seen that these parts here are going to move up very well, so you can bring them forward for a good sharp kick. Off to the side, no problem if you want to do full splits, and the bend at the knees. You'll notice here that there was a little bit of a pop sound there. You can slide this part out, which is going to allow the leg to come back, and if you stretch this part out, you can't quite get the 180 just because the shorts are going to get in the way, but still very, very good as he gets ready for a kick. The ankles do a good job as well here. You can see that they can rotate off to the side, no problem. They can spin front and back. The only thing being is that if you move them too much, the sandals are actually going to detach, so these straps, they do nothing. For the upper body, you can rotate the chest just that much. You may have noticed that I put a part in there before putting this whole thing together. You can bend the chest down though quite a bit, and if you want to bend it back, you can get it about this far. The head is going to be able to look up this much and look down this much, so actually a surprising amount. You can see here that the head can rotate around, no problem there. It's on a ball joint, and these parts here, there's 2 points of movement. So lots of articulation there. The shoulders, they pretty much get covered up by the vest, but if you had that off, you'd see that it can pretty much move around anywhere. Rotate up and down, you can have it stretch out, and if you want to get those bends with the elbows all the way up to the 180, you can again get him ready for various punching actions, which are helped by the fact that you've got these wrists which can move pretty much anything anywhere if you just want to rotate them around. If you bent that around, you could get it into place, and you just have to be careful. It's good and bad because they're easily interchangeable, but they can also fall off when you don't want them to. For height comparison, here he is next to the Portrait of Pirates. You've got Monkey D. Luffy sailing again over here, and you can check out its review on gudam.tk. In terms of height, I guess it would depend on how you line up the legs, but this guy is just a little bit taller, especially with the head height. It also doesn't help that this guy's had a real big lean when he's leaning back. It doesn't help add to the height department anywhere. When you're changing though the cap, one thing I'm not too crazy about this, his trademark hat, is just that it's got to sit at a little bit of an awkward angle, which just makes this height comparison seem a little bit strange, even though overall they're about the same. And now venturing out of the Grand Line and back to more familiar territory, here you've got the Master Grade 00 Gundam 7 Sword/G compared to Monkey D. Luffy, and this guy at about 18-19 meters and 18-19 centimeters as a 1/100th. You can see that Luffy is going to be quite a bit taller, almost 25 centimeters I believe is what it said on the box. With the Figurerise and the p.o.p back to back, yes, nobody could stand in their way if these two teamed up. But anyway, you can really just see the difference in quality here between the two of them. This guy looks very plasticky, as you can expect, and now a pro painter would be able to go over that with some nice top coating, and you could bring out some of the details, especially if you've seen some of the Son Gokus online. You can see that some people have done some fantastic work with it. But this guy at 3,800 yen and the p.o.p for about 6,000, you can see that the difference in quality, this one is certainly going to look a lot better. But in terms of the fun of the build, the Master Grade Figurerise was a lot of fun, and besides this guy having his swapping arms, this one is going to have a lot more play value if that's what you are choosing your toys/models based off of. With a silly pose to kick things off, that's something that a portrait of pirates sure can to do. He's got his mead and his meat in hand, and you can cross the legs with surprising ease. It's really fantastic, actually, the way that the slide mechanism is on the inside of the shorts as opposed to having two of them down at the knees. This just works a lot better, and it makes these kind of poses very easy to pull off. And when you put on that goofy grinning face, he actually comes across as looking very Luffy-like. With the posability that's built into the arms and legs, you can have no problem at all getting him into gear second with very little effort. The legs can still fit in there, you can still get them out, and if you want to pose them in even more cool style, and it's great that the actual arm can rest on there. And if you want to have the cap strapped onto the back, no problem there either. But it's with his angry face on that you can really get ready to use those stretchy limbs of his. Which, combined with the action base, all you have to do is pop out this part of the shorts and put on this part, which you can put on this clear connector. But it's these kind of silly scenes that you can recreate with those long limbs that are going to make this kit a little bit of fun. There's a few problems. First of all, being back here with this action base. They say that it can hold things up, and it cannot, and even that's even with the screw in there, tightened as much as it can. Also, the cap, the way it sits on here, you can't really get it to stay on all that properly. It helps in this position because he's actually leaning too far forward, but the stretchy arm is going to work out, and when you combine that with the angry face, the effect is comically pleasing. If you put this grasper part around the waist, it actually fits in there pretty well when you combine it with the fact that it's locked into the jeans, but because this part here is still going to be useless, you're not going to have any luck getting him in any poses outside of this one. This is a pose I'd be a lot more excited about if you could actually get the leg to go up a little bit higher, but again, you'd need the cooperation of the base. And really, no matter what you do with the base, you're not going to be able to get the leg up any higher than that, and it's going to have a little bit of weight issues as it starts to bring the leg down in the socket. The bazooka is actually going to work better than I expected with the arms. You're not going to have any weight issues as long as you actually get them right into the shoulders, but again, it's just the weight issues in general of this whole base that's just getting more and more frustrating no matter what you try to do with it. But if you angle it up upwards and forget about the fact that he's practically chewing on the string of his hat, you can actually get some dynamic poses that are actually going to stay in place properly. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up my look at the Master Grade Figurerise, the actual figure there, and what do you think about it compared to the p.o.p figure? Anyway, stay tuned for the last part where I'll have my final verdict, all the good and bad things that I can think of for this kit. There's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives. Some of them are just because it's different from Gundam, and some of them are inherent flaws in the design. Anyway, stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching this, everybody. Robert184 gudam.tk. See you next time. Oi, Setsuna, have you ever tried smiling?